Prime Minister Narendra Modi has voiced his optimism about the ongoing trade talks between India and the United States, calling the two nations close friends and natural partners. He's mentioned that the talks could unlock new opportunities for trade and that both sides are working to wrap things up soon. Modi also shared that he looks forward to more discussions with President Trump. This comes hours after the US President announced that both nations were actively working to resolve trade barriers. He's exuded confidence in successful trade conclusions between the two countries. All right, Aman Sharma joins me with more perspective. Aman, it certainly looks like we've reached upon a thaw as far as the kind of icy rhetoric that was coming from the White House, particularly from the US President and his trade advisors. But given these developments, what are you learning from your sources in terms of any concrete forward movement? What should we expect next?
See, Akansha, I think the first thing which is going to happen is a call between President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. A phone call could happen in the next few days. And both the leaders in their respective statements have hinted towards the same. Donald Trump clearly saying, I look forward to speaking with my very good friend Prime Minister Modi in the upcoming weeks. And Prime Minister Modi responding, saying, I am also looking forward to speaking with President Trump and we will work together to secure a brighter, more prosperous future for both our countries and our people. So I think this is a very, very positive development because the last time both the leaders spoke was on June 17th. That's quite a while back, almost 3 months now. Then Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in Canada for the G7 summit. President Trump had left that summit early. He called him from Washington and they had a 35-minute long phone call in which the most of the topic which was discussed was Operation Sindoor, and Prime Minister Modi made it very clear to President Trump that, US did not play any mediatory role. Since then, there has been no call. So this call, which is expected very soon now with both the leaders expressing their eagerness to speak to each other, could, I feel, be the first big icebreaker. Things could move forward depending on how that call goes, what the two leaders speak about. Can both leaders meet? For example, Malaysia is being spoken about, that President Trump is in all probability going for the ASEAN summit in Malaysia, and Prime Minister Modi always goes to the ASEAN every year. So can both the leaders meet there? That's also, a possibility. But on the UNG also, we so far, Akanksha, know that the Prime Minister is not traveling. So far, that is the status. But will that change? That all depends on what goes in this phone call. But I think both the leaders, besides the trade negotiations, of course, which they have spoken about in their respective statements, that both countries want to conclude a trade deal soon and the trade negotiations are on track. Both the leaders have said that. So that is also, I think, a big positive step for both the countries because, there has been a bit of a chill in the trade negotiations, the 50% tariffs which came in. So hopefully, I think this phone call, which is expected in the next few days, and, sources were telling us, we had reported also earlier this week about the possibility of such a phone call between both the leaders. They may discuss, Akanksha, for example, the scheduling of the Quad summit, because in the last June 17th phone call between both leaders, President Trump had agreed to Prime Minister Modi's invite to come to India for the Quad summit. We haven't heard since from the US. So will these two leaders also speak about that, maybe discuss the upcoming, UNGA summit, and also, of course, the Russia-Ukraine war, which is a major global issue, which both leaders have been trying to, to negotiate between Russia and Ukraine. So I think all depends on this all-important phone call we're expecting the next few days. But certainly a thaw, certainly the ice has been broken between both sides with these statements today.
Absolutely. But with Donald Trump and his unpredictability, one will really have to weigh in or assess how this is going to what this will mean in terms of forward momentum, given that there's in fact a report come in Financial Times where Donald Trump has been quoted to be urging the European Union to slap additional tariffs to India. We will take that forward with you, Aman, in just a bit. But equally interesting has been that conversation that Network 18's group editor-in-chief, Mr. Rahul Joshi, had with Union Minister Piyush Goyal in terms of setting a clear timeline for the ongoing trade negotiations with the United States. Remember, Piyush Goyal has always maintained that as far as trade agreements are concerned, they do not operate on deadlines. Let's listen in to that exclusive.
Let me rewind a little bit and, come to what you've been dealing with, and you've been at the center of all of it. Till about July 6th or 7th, things seem to be going fine with in our negotiations with the US. Then in a matter of weeks, we had a tariff of 25%, then another 25% on top of that. What went wrong in these few weeks?
Well, I think the US-India relationship is one of the most consequential relationships on the globe today. We are two very large democracies. We believe in the rule of law. We are allies and friends for long. We have had certain blips, like we had the sanctions post the nuclear tests in 1998.
Yes.
I look at this only as one more situation which will pass as there's a deeper understanding of the reality of the situation. And I'm very confident this relationship will only strengthen in the years to come.
And how soon do you expect things to resolve?
It could happen soon enough. It may take some time. Irrespective, we will continue to be friends. We will continue to be engaged with the United States. And I'm sure we will continue to have greater economic relationships, defense relationships, greater interest in a safe, fair and secure Indo-Pacific. In some sense, it's a very multi-dimensional relationship where we contribute to each other's economies in different dimensions and will continue to do so.
It's comforting to hear these words from you, and we also picked up that you said somewhere that things could happen as soon as November. Is that a correct?
Well, if you recall, when Prime Minister Modi and Honorable President Donald Trump met in February, they had tasked the two teams to conclude the first tranche of a bilateral trade agreement by fall of 25, which is about November 2025. And I'm sure we will continue to be engaged to try and find solutions to reach that outcome. If at all it's give and take a few days, a few weeks, a few months, in a nation's history, such small periods will not define long-term objectives and goals.
All right, and now let's try and get in some perspective from the United States, and for that I'm joined in by Congressman Gregory Meeks. He's also an integral part of the US House Foreign Affairs Committee. Many thanks to you, Congressman Meeks, for joining in. Just few days ago, you met with Ambassador Vinay Quatra, who's the Indian ambassador to the United States. You underscored Congress's support for the US-India partnership, which has strengthened over the past 25 years, including through the Quad. That is the statement that's also come from you. In your assessment, where is this relationship standing as of now under the current Trump administration?
But I'm concerned. I'm concerned about some of President Trump's actions, particularly the tariffs that he has put on India for no reason, in which as far as I'm concerned, doesn't make sense. We've got and have, well, as you've indicated, for the last 25 years, very strong relationships and achieved a lot. When you think about what we've done over the 20 years in space, in science, in public health, in national security, and through mechanisms like the Quad, we've been very close.